For our video project, we chose to interview Lizzy Stemke, who is in her 4th year as a head coach at the University of Georgia. We asked her about her background, her personal life, how she became to be the head coach at UGA, and a little bit about her playing career and her family. And here is her story. Okay, so our first question is a little bit to do with your background. How did you first get started with volleyball? What made you fall in love with it?
Well, I grew up in a very athletic family. My dad was a basketball and baseball coach, and so we were either on a field or in a gym growing up. I grew up with 3 other siblings, so there was 4 of us. And my dad was always at the gym or the field, and so our family was always at the gym or the field. So I grew up around athletics, always had a ball in my hand, and grew up around a team environment. My sister started playing volleyball when she was in middle school, 6-year age difference there. And I just followed her around. You know, I thought she was the coolest thing since sliced bread, and so I followed her around, and my best friend and I were managers for her volleyball team, her high school volleyball team, and so started shagging balls and peppering on the side until I got my chance to play with my own team. But I was addicted to the sport of volleyball just watching my sister growing up.
Cool. When did you first feel like you had a shot to play college ball, and what was the process you went through when you made your decision to attend a specific school over all your other options?
I think the goal once starting to play volleyball was always to continue to reach the next level. So middle school, it was to play in high school and make the best team I could in high school, and then I always had my sights set on continuing to play for as long as I could at every stage I was at. And so, college athletics was a part of my family as well. My dad had played baseball and basketball in college. My older brother had played basketball at Ole Miss. My sister played volleyball at Florida. My younger brother followed me, but also played baseball in Tennessee in college. So we were all had college athletics in our sights from a very early age because it was just a part of our family. So early on in my high school career, I knew that was my next goal, the next level to get to. So early in those high school years, that was the goal, that was the drive, and I tried to take every opportunity that was going to get me closer to playing at the next level. The reason I chose the University of Wisconsin at the time was I believed in the coach that was there. I knew I wanted to go someplace different. I'd grown up in Louisiana my whole life. Ironically, all of my siblings played sports in the SEC, and I had a few opportunities to play in the SEC, but I sort of wanted someplace different, someplace to make a name for myself in a different area of the country. And the University of Wisconsin provided that for me. It provided someplace very different. I believed in the coach that was leading the program at the time. I had a huge respect for the academics that the University of Wisconsin had. And it was going to be the right fit for me athletically and situationally in my position and the way that the years worked out with a setter position, and so it all kind of fell into place to be the right place for me, and I haven't looked back since.
And what was it like being a student athlete? For people who don't know, what is it like today, or what was it like for you compared to the average student?
That's a great question. I think the rigors of being a student athlete are the same. I do think that there is, technology has created a world that's a little bit more sensitive to the everyday actions of our student athletes, and so you're representing yourself at every single glance. And these student athletes are still waking up super early in the morning for early AM workouts. They've got a full load of classes, and our volleyball student athletes are pursuing some pretty rigorous degrees. Practice for 3 hours a day, and then group projects, study hall hours, tutors, all the above after practice. And so it's an incredibly long day, and I don't think that piece has changed, but I do think the access to the world and the world's access to them is a lot more immediate and certainly time consuming. I mean, any college student you really can't see without a phone in their hand these days, but certainly with the athletic world, you know, every choice they make is broadcast somewhere, and you know, there's a heightened sense of responsibility with every step that they take on and off the court, playing field, and so forth.
Definitely. So just to touch on your professional career, what was it like playing in other countries? What do you think you gained the most from that, representing your team, that whole experience? What was that like?
Yeah, I think with each experience, you know, provided new challenges, and certainly new experiences to different cultures, different lifestyles, different people, and with each one of those experiences, you gain a new appreciation for time management. You gain a new appreciation for working with all different types of personalities and situations, and each one of those experiences were special in their own right. Certainly living in a different culture in a different country, you're kind of a foreigner. And so you're completely out of your comfort zone often, and you have to learn how to handle adversity with a lot of different people, a lot of different expectations and cultures. But it definitely was a great eye-opening experience to being comfortable in your own skin, standing strong to what you believe in, and working with others. And the more opportunities you can put yourself in those situations, the greater growth you can have as a person and a professional.
Mm-hmm. So next thing I wanted to ask you about is kind of your family and work balance and how that's been a transition while you're playing and coaching. So for your relationship with your husband, was it hard to maintain that relationship while you both traveled and played and lived in various different cities throughout the country and world?
No doubt, traveling and being apart provides obstacles for any relationship. But I also think it's what strengthened us to the relationship that we have, and we both feel we can tackle just about anything together, because that time apart really forces you to communicate. You can't just get mad at each other and not talk. You know, you've got to figure out ways to communicate, and so all of those experiences, that time apart. At the time, my husband Kevin was playing professionally as well, so we were both playing sports professionally, dealing with a lot of adversity on our own ends. And so we had to work through some of those frustrations together, and those conversations, that support, whether we were in the same city or not, is really what has strengthened us to feel like we can kind of take on the world together.
Mm-hmm. And did you make a decision to have kids only after you were done playing?
We actually, yes, we were married for quite some time before starting a family, and adding, I should say, adding to our family. We both were playing professionally, and kind of got married towards the tail end of our professional careers. I think both of us really wanted to pursue our athletic careers, our playing careers, as long as we could, for as long as each of us wanted to. Neither one of us wanted to tell the other one it was time to be done. We wanted each of us to come to that conclusion on our own time, so that we had fully exhausted those experiences. We actually got married. I had been done with the national team, and we got married, and I played one more season professionally overseas. So our first year of marriage, we were actually apart, which was certainly challenging, and I wouldn't suggest it to anybody just because that time away is hard. But again, at the same time, I think we were able to communicate and strengthen our relationship in each one of those experiences.
All right, can you just go over the coaching path, maybe that, briefly, that took you to the University of Georgia?
Okay. As I said, I grew up with a father who was a coach. My sister actually coached for quite some time as well. When I was finished my playing career, my husband Kevin was with the St. Louis Rams at the time, and so I finished my career, and we were planning on settling down. And right around the same time that I finished up, he was released from the Rams, and he had bounced around from quite a few teams, and so we were ready to kind of hang up the shoes, so to speak, together. And at that point in time, we were kind of up in the air. What was it that we were going to do? What was next for us? And as I started making a few calls, I'd always enjoyed coaching, and I knew that with the connections that we had within athletics, that I could get my foot in the door. But I had no idea that I would become so passionate about the profession at that time. And so I took my first, I had dabbled in coaching as a volunteer coach when I was still training with the USA national team. I was a volunteer coach for my sister at the University of Central Florida. So I had dabbled in the college coaching a little bit with her because I was still training, and it gave me the flexibility to do both. But when I was finally gonna kind of pursue this coaching career, my first job was as an assistant at the University of North Carolina for the Tar Heels. And I had a great mentor in Joe Segula there at North Carolina. My husband and I really enjoyed the North Carolina area. And so it was a great first step, and certainly something that allowed me to build my passion for coaching. I loved working with the student athletes. I loved sharing experiences that I had to help drive these younger players into a path that they wanted to create. So I was really quite hooked after that first year. After 2 years there, I took a job at the University of Nebraska with the head coach who had recruited me to the University of Wisconsin. He had since moved to the University of Nebraska, and so I was under his tutelage at Nebraska for 4 seasons. And all the while at both of these places, I took every opportunity to coach with any USA volleyball developmental teams as well, to continue to work with some of the best athletes in the country, and to continue to grow. 4 years at the University of Nebraska, and we were very happy there. We were starting our family. I was pregnant when I took the job here at Georgia, or I was pregnant during the interview process, and so I found a home here. I found a place where all of those experiences through playing, as well as the stops I had made along the way, coaching wise, the University of Georgia was the perfect fit to start my own program and to build my own program with a family on the way and in the making as well. So we knew we were coming here to really build a home as well as build a program.
And what were your goals for building the program when you first entered into the position at UGA?
Well, first and foremost, we needed to create a competitive environment, and so we needed to really start with the ground up, building a culture that was going to be able to compete not only in the SEC but nationally, and that's still a major goal for us. And once we build a culture that's competitive, we feel like the University of Georgia has all of the ingredients to win SEC championships, make going to the NCAA tournament an expectation and a standard, and then certainly propelling forward in the NCAA tournament with each year. And so all of those goals, even 4 years in, are still very prominent, and we're working to continue the culture that we've started with every decision we make and with every recruit we bring in. But I think we have a great foundation thus far.
So one of the things we wanted to ask you about is SEC Network, obviously something new. How has that improved the visibility of our program here, college volleyball in general? What do you think the impact is going to be in the future?
Yeah, I mean, we're only seeing a smidgen right now of the impact that the SEC Network is going to have. I mean, the lasting effect is going to be so huge for the SEC as a whole and for Georgia. Certainly recruiting is kind of all of our lifeblood, and to be able to talk to recruits, whether they're in California or Illinois or even Florida and Georgia, and even in this region, to be able to talk to families about you will never miss a game, that you will be a part of your child's experience at every step of the way and every competition is huge. The other thing that I think is so fantastic about the SEC Network is the amount of time and the amount that they are committing to the SEC and the student athletes. You get to tell a lot of stories. It's great exposure for not only the competitive atmosphere of our student athletes and of our university, but it really there's time and investment to talk about the athletes themselves and talk about the schools themselves. And so there's going to be a lot of great human interest stories out there, exposure out there that we'll be able to not only demonstrate and put out there what it is we do on the court, but we get to talk about the full experience of being a student athlete here at the University of Georgia. So that type of exposure, I mean, is just incredible. And so we're already seeing some great results from that, but I think it's going to continue to explode. And I think the investment by the SEC to put this product out there is going to pay dividends for the conference and for the universities as a whole.
Okay. What is your coaching philosophy, and how do you get the most out of your players through that?
I think our coaching philosophy here at Georgia is one of great communication, open communication, and we talk to our players all the time about there's very intentional and very calculated decisions at every step of the way, and we want to make sure that our players understand why it is we do what we do in the gym, understand why it is we do what we do on game day, and the systems we run, to the personnel that are starting, to a philosophy and a training regime that they understand. So our door is always open. They know that they can call or come in or text and say hello at any moment, and they're going to get very open and honest communication. And I think that's something that builds trust. It builds respect, and so that is probably our biggest philosophy here, is making sure that communication is open, that they feel comfortable asking questions, and that they understand what the goals are and how to get there, which alleviates a lot of questioning and confusion and second guessing. We want to make sure that all the cards are always on the table, so that we're all moving forward together. Yeah, I mean, I guess the only thing I would say there is, in athletics and in life, you face decisions every single day that deal with ethics, and again, you got to put your head on the pillow every night, being comfortable with the decisions that you're making, and there's opportunities to cheat, lie, steal in every single day, and staying on a path that's filled with integrity is much more fulfilling and longer lasting than taking the easy way out on any given decision.
We agreed with a lot of the things that Lizzy said. Some of the lessons that we learned from her were communication is key in everything, including coaching, marriage, parenting, pretty much all aspects of your life. Also, coaching directly influences parenting. It helps children learn to adapt to personalities, and she thinks it's really key that parents do not pressure their children's decisions about what they pursue and what they love to do. Her children do not have to play volleyball, so that's a perfect example of that. And finally, you have to feel comfortable with the decisions you make every single day. You have to lay your head down on the pillow and be happy with what you've done.